Hey, today we're going to talk about the importance of play and training.
So play and training and playing with your dog. There is absolutely proper play etiquette for behaviors that you want to encourage, and play etiquette that you may not want to encourage or you want to extinguish, such as puppy biting, maybe jumping, maybe, depending. But play is such an important part of bonding with your dog and making yourself valuable. Because let's face it, training is tricks. It's all, It should be fun. And that being said, integrating play with your dog in between maybe harder behaviors or stressful behaviors that you're trying to teach your dog is important to make you valuable, but also make the session valuable.
Well, and we're pretty lucky that we can take our dogs out several times a day and do little sessions, and it adds up. But most people's lives aren't that way. So they have carved out literally from their life 20 minutes, and that's what they have. But as we talked about in our training session video, 20 minutes is too long to work on a focused behavior. So using tug-of-war or, throwing food around or any of those other things that could be valuable for your dog, jumping on us or herding behavior or that kind of thing we're part of the play helps then extend the training session. And I think we've learned from some great people like Julie Flannery about how to use games as part of the skill acquisition.
Sure.
So I think those kinds of things are valuable, where we can use some of the wagon wheel or the food bowling, which we've talked about previously, to get them to come racing in front of us and sit in front of us, all anticipatory. And that helps us then move into the next part of focused training that we might want to do. Is there any sort of play that you don't recommend if you're training?
Well, I think, the chuck it's a big hot topic that we talk about all the time, but, the dog's focus is different if you're just mindlessly throwing a ball, whether it's from your hand or from a chuck it. Their focus is different, but that also depends on the dog. Building confidence is also part of play. And, if your dog needs to maybe go find a bumper that you've placed out, sniff it out, bring it back to you. And that's a different sort of confidence builder and play, and a different way to work with your dog's brain in between maybe teaching them to do some precision healing, or maybe teaching them harder things for dogs is to learn to stay, or, some self-control behaviors. So again, we say it all the time, it depends a little bit. There's no cookie cutter way, but generally keeping yourself in the play makes it more valuable.
I think what you said there is a super good point. I don't know that I thought about it this way, but it also depends on what you're trying to train. So if you're trying to train agility behaviors, you might not then use super active play. You might use more go finding a bumper or their nose work or that kind of thing to help them decompress from the super active puzzle finding of an agility course. And the vice versa might be true. If you're teaching a focused stay or still behavior or really high concentration behavior for the dog, you might go the other way and use a high energy kind of dynamic play to kind of decompress from the stillness. So it's also not a cookie cutter. One type of play is the way you always play with your dog in a training session. And I think it's hard for us adults to do this. I think kids are really great at it, and they sort of are silly with their dogs, and we generally start to lose that. So there are ways to do it. I think we're constantly evolving and trying to get better with it with our own dogs and learn what each individual of our pack wants and enjoys. But I think we both have come to see that it's an important part of each training session.
And don't devalue simply having a play session as well.
Yeah, very true.
There are certainly times, especially when my more sensitive dogs just need me to be focused on them instead of a whole pack of dogs and play with them. And that is a learning session in of itself.
Yeah.
But maybe, pushing on them and tossing a toy and playing tug and other things, sometimes that's all they need for that 5 minutes.
Yeah. If you'd like to learn more about how to incorporate play into your training or other ways to make training more fun, please feel free to reach out to us at Cascade Pet Camp via social media or our website.